The Mercedes dealership gleamed in the California sun. Chrome and glass and expensive cars lined up like jewels. Premier Motors, Orange County's finest luxury automotive experience, the sign proclaimed. Marcus Webb stood across the street, watching his business through the eyes of a stranger. He wore jeans, a plain black t-shirt, and sneakers. His usual work uniform of designer suits and Italian leather shoes was back in his closet. Today, he wanted to see what his customers saw. What his employees did when the CEO wasn't watching. He'd owned Premier Motors for 5 years. Built it from a struggling single location into a 3-dealership empire. Mercedes, BMW, Porsche, top-tier luxury vehicles for Orange County's wealthy elite. But lately, he'd been hearing things. Complaints from black customers about being ignored. Stories of differential treatment. One particularly bad Yelp review from a black doctor who said she'd been followed around the lot like a shoplifter and couldn't get anyone to actually help her buy a car. Marcus had dismissed it initially. Surely not his dealership. Surely not his carefully trained staff. But the complaints kept coming. So he decided to see for himself. He crossed the street and walked onto the lot. It was Saturday afternoon. Prime time. The lot was busy with families browsing, salespeople making pitches, test drives happening. Marcus walked toward the Mercedes section. A gleaming S-Class caught his eye. $120,000. Beautiful machine. He stood there, looking at it. Waiting. 3 salespeople walked past him. None stopped. None made eye contact. None offered to help. A white couple approached a different car. Immediately, a salesman appeared. Good afternoon. Beautiful day to find your dream car. I'm Derek, what can I show you? Marcus watched Derek, one of his top salespeople, engage the couple warmly. Walking them around the vehicle. Opening doors. Answering questions. Meanwhile, Marcus stood alone. Invisible. He moved to a different car. A GLE SUV. Also north of $80,000. He opened the driver's door. Sat inside. Touched the leather. The steering wheel. Checked out the features. Still no one approached. But he noticed something. A salesperson named Todd, young, white, slicked back hair, was watching him. Not approaching. Just watching. With suspicion. Marcus got out of the car. Moved to another. A convertible SL. Drop-top beauty. $150,000 easy. He was examining it when Todd finally approached. But not with a sales pitch. Can I help you with something? The tone wasn't welcoming. It was challenging. Yeah, I'm interested in this car. Can you tell me about it? This is a very expensive vehicle. Todd crossed his arms. Do you know what something like this costs? Marcus kept his expression neutral. I have an idea. Can you give me specifics on the engine specs? Look, man, this probably isn't in your price range. We have some used cars in the back lot. More affordable options. I didn't ask about used cars. I asked about this one. Todd's jaw tightened. I'm trying to save you time. This car is $150,000. Plus taxes and fees. That's not. I mean, most people can't just. Most people. Or most people who look like me. I didn't say that. You didn't have to. Marcus gestured around the lot. I've been here 20 minutes. I've looked at 4 cars. No one has helped me until you came over to suggest I can't afford anything here. Sir, I'm just being realistic. You're being discriminatory. There's a difference. Todd's face flushed. I'm not discriminating. I'm a salesman. I know who can buy these cars and who's wasting my time. And you determined I'm wasting your time based on what? My clothes. My skin color. Based on the fact that you look like you can't afford a Happy Meal, let alone a Mercedes. Todd's voice rose. Other people were starting to notice. We get people like you all the time. Coming in. Sitting in cars you can't buy. Taking photos for Instagram. Wasting our time. I'm sick of it. People like me. Yeah. People who clearly don't belong in a luxury dealership. Marcus felt anger burning in his chest, but he kept his voice level. So you think I don't belong here? I think you're browsing cars you have no intention or ability to purchase. I think you're wasting my time. And I think you should leave before I call security. Security? For what? Looking at cars in a car dealership. For trespassing. For disturbing other customers. For a woman's voice cut through. For being black in your dealership. Marcus turned. A black woman in her 40s, professionally dressed, stood a few feet away. She'd been looking at S-Class. Now she was watching the confrontation with anger on her face. Ma'am, this doesn't concern you, Todd said. It absolutely concerns me. I've been standing over there for 15 minutes. Not one person has offered to help me. But you had time to come harass this man. She walked over, standing next to Marcus. I'm Drive, Catherine Mills. I'm a cardiologist. I make $400,000 a year. I came here to buy a car with cash. But I'm starting to think I should take my money elsewhere. Todd looked between them, clearly flustered. We're just busy today. Someone would have helped you. Someone helped that white couple immediately. Someone helped those people over there right away. But the two black customers were invisible, or worse, were suspicious. Dr. Mills pulled out her phone. I'm recording this, by the way, for when I write my Yelp review. And contact the owner. And tell everyone I know to avoid this racist establishment. Racist? I'm not racist. You told this man he doesn't belong here. You threatened to call security on him for looking at cars. You assumed he couldn't afford anything based on his appearance. What would you call that? Other customers were definitely watching now. Salespeople were noticing the commotion. Marcus saw his general manager, Richard, heading their way. Richard was white, late 50s, been with the company 4 years. Good numbers. Professional demeanor. Marcus had always trusted him. What's going on here? Richard approached with his best manager smile. Your salesman is discriminating against customers, Drive. Mills said before Todd could speak. Harassing this man. Ignoring me. Making assumptions about who can afford your cars based on race. Richard's smile didn't waver. I'm sure there's been a misunderstanding. Todd, why don't you take a break? I'll handle this. Todd left quickly, shooting a resentful look at Marcus and Dr. Mills. Richard turned his attention to them. I apologize for any confusion. Let me personally help you both. Now, what kind of vehicles are you interested in? His tone was smooth, professional. But Marcus noticed something. Richard positioned himself between them and the expensive cars, subtly guiding them toward the lower-priced models. I was looking at the SL, Marcus said. Beautiful car. But it's quite expensive. Have you considered the C-Class? Similar luxury feel, much more accessible price point. I didn't ask what's accessible. I asked about the SL. Of course. I just like to make sure customers are looking at vehicles within their budget range. You don't know my budget, Marcus said quietly. Well, no, but based on. Typically customers who are seriously interested in the SL range. Richard trailed off, realizing he was digging himself deeper. Dr. Mills shook her head. Based on what? Say it. Based on the fact that we're black, you assume we're poor. I never said that. You're thinking it. Your employee said it. And your body language is screaming it. She looked at Marcus. I've dealt with this before. At this dealership specifically. Which is why I wrote that review. Nothing changes. Marcus felt something click into place. Your Drive, Mills. You wrote the review 6 months ago. You read it. I read all the reviews. Then you know this place has a problem. A serious problem. She looked at Richard. I'm guessing you're the manager who investigated my complaint and found no evidence of discrimination. Richard shifted uncomfortably. We take all complaints seriously, but we couldn't substantiate. I gave you dates, times, names of salespeople who ignored me, names of white customers who were helped immediately. I documented everything. And you did nothing. We provided additional training. Clearly didn't work. Your employee just told this man to leave. Threatened to call security. Made it clear we're not welcome here. Dr. Mills looked at Marcus. I'm sorry they're treating you this way. But if you want my advice, take your money to a dealership that respects black customers. This place is a lost cause. She walked away, pulled out her phone, probably writing another review, or calling friends, or both. Richard turned to Marcus. Sir, I apologize for the confusion. Let me make this right. How about a significant discount on whatever vehicle you're interested in? A discount. That's your solution. I'm trying to be accommodating. You're trying to make me go away. There's a difference. Marcus looked around the lot. At his employees, his business, his reputation. Tell me something. How many black salespeople work here? We don't track demographics. How many? Richard hesitated. None currently. But we hire based on qualifications, not race. Qualifications. Right. Marcus pulled out his phone. What's your name again? Richard Foster. I'm the general manager. I've been with Premier Motors for 4 years. And I assure you, we don't tolerate discrimination. You employ it. You enable it. You cover for it. Marcus took a photo of Richard. That's going in my report. Your report. Sir, who are you? Someone who's very disappointed in what I'm seeing today. Marcus walked away, left the lot. Richard didn't follow. Probably relieved the problem customer was leaving. Marcus got in his car, a Mercedes S-Class he'd bought from his own dealership 3 years ago, parked a block away. Sat there processing what had just happened. His dealership, his business, his employees, treating black customers like criminals. Like they didn't belong, like they couldn't afford the cars. And his general manager, covering for it, making excuses, offering discounts to make problems disappear instead of actually addressing the issue. Marcus pulled out his phone, called his head of hour. Janine, it's Marcus. I need you to come to the Orange County location tomorrow morning. 8 a.m. And bring all the documentation you have on discrimination complaints for the past 2 years. Yes, all of them. I know there are a lot. That's the problem. We'll discuss it tomorrow. Then he called his lawyer. David, I need your advice. I just experienced blatant racial discrimination at my own dealership. Yeah, it's as bad as it sounds. I need to know the legal implications of firing multiple employees, possibly including the general manager. Tomorrow. Perfect. My office, 9 a.m. Finally, he called his wife, Angela. Babe, you're not going to believe what just happened. The next morning, Marcus arrived at the dealership at 7:45 a.m. He wore his usual work attire. Tailored suit, designer shoes, the CEO uniform. He walked into the building. Janine was already there, sitting in his office with files spread across his desk. Boss, this is worse than I thought. She gestured to the files. 17 formal complaints in 2 years. All from black customers. All claiming discrimination, being ignored, being followed, being told they couldn't afford vehicles. And what happened with those complaints? Richard investigated them. Found insufficient evidence for all but 2. Those 2 resulted in written warnings for the salespeople involved. No other consequences. So 17 complaints. 17 black customers who felt discriminated against. And Richard's solution was to do essentially nothing. It gets worse. I pulled the sales data. Black customers make up less than 3% of our total sales. But Orange County's black population is 2.3%. So we're barely meeting demographic representation. Meaning we're not attracting black customers. Or we're driving them away. Both, probably. Janine pulled out another file. I also found 3 internal complaints. From 2 black salespeople we hired 3 years ago. Both complained about hostile work environment. Both left within 6 months. Richard said they weren't a good culture fit. Marcus felt his jaw tighten. So we had black salespeople who complained about racism, and Richard pushed them out. That's what it looks like. David, Marcus's lawyer, arrived at 9 a.m. Marcus showed him everything. The complaints, the data, the pattern. You have grounds to terminate for cause, David said. This is systematic discrimination. Richard failed to address complaints properly. Failed to maintain a non-discriminatory workplace. Failed to train staff adequately. Any one of those is terminable. Altogether. Slam dunk. What about Todd, the salesman who harassed me? Also terminable for cause. Discrimination. Threatening a customer. Creating a hostile environment. I want them both gone. Today, you'll probably face wrongful termination lawsuits. Let them sue. I have documentation. I have witnesses. I have my own experience. Marcus looked at the files spread across his desk. I built this business from nothing. I'm not going to let racists destroy its reputation. Even if those racists are my own employees. At 10 a.m., Marcus called an all-staff meeting. Mandatory. Everyone from sales to service to administration. They gathered in the main showroom. About 40 employees. Marcus stood in front, next to a GLE SUV. The same one he'd sat in yesterday while being ignored. Good morning everyone. For those who don't know me well, I'm Marcus Webb. I'm the CEO. I own this dealership and 2 others.